What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/StoriesAboutKevin. Alright, this story's called One Kevin Leaves, Another Kevin Arrives. There is always Kevin. It must be some sort of situation decided by a sorting hat. A Kevin hat, if you will. Longtime Kevin from kindergarten to 8th grade, we'll refer to him as Stuart, left for hockey school in a different province. This is Canada, by the way, eh? I am making this known in order to tell my full story about my Kevin. You must know about his predecessor, Stuart. Stuart was a smart kid, depending on the phase of the moon. Some days you wondered even how this child functioned, or how they haven't died yet. And on the other hand, you're impressed they managed to get high 80s in sciences. Stuart was known for his addiction to gum and the ability to eat any food he laid his eyes on. I used to sit next to Stuart at lunch. Every day, he would buy 2 cheese pizzas from the cafeteria and scrape off the cheese and eat the sauce-covered bread. He would make a blood-curdling screech that sounded like some of the hollows from Dark Souls. Stuart would also spit on his food to prevent the other children from eating it. But this was middle school, and spit-covered food was probably the least diseased thing in the school. Stuart had a full-on gum addiction, consuming at least a pack a day. His father intervened, and Stuart went ballistic. It was like removing the source of cocaine from a crackhead. He would do almost anything just to chew some gum, even trading away his entire lunch for a packet. It was known among the teachers and the students that Stuart could be paid a nickel and he'd eat a piece of salami off the floor from how many lunch hours ago. The gods must have cast an immunity spell on this boy, as I never saw him get sick despite everything he ate. For a book report, they once chose Moby Dick just so they could write Dick down on the report without getting yelled at. This kid had an incredibly squeaky voice, which definitely contrasted all the hexes and curses they screamed at the other children. Stuart was nice, but he was dumb, but not as dumb as Kevin. On the news that Stuart was leaving, a lot of kids were happy, but some were sad because we lost our source of entertainment. There was a Stuart-shaped hole in our Stuart-shaped heart. But that hole was unexpectedly filled once freshman year hit. Memoirs of the Teenage Nympho. And we were introduced to Kevin. Kevin was from a different middle school, and only when the 3 middle schools combined to form the despicable 9th graders were we introduced to Kevin. At first, Kevin seemed nice, but he's kind of a butthole. But he makes up for it with the weirdest crap I have ever heard anyone say. It's almost like he has a random sentence generator for a brain, Mad Lib style. During science class, a friend of mine got mad at Kevin. She screamed, "What is your major malfunction?" To which Kevin responded with, "I am so hungry, I ate 3 of my chromosomes." Oh my god. Kevin once wrote a friend of mine's name on his shoe. A week later, he ran up to her to inform her that he accidentally wrote it with permanent marker and now it won't come off. To the same friend, he asked if he could drink cocaine off her cleavage. Kevin assumed I was a cat. He brought a laser pointer to my science class and shined it on my leg. As a joke, I cupped it with my hand, like a cat would. Now I cannot speak to him without him meowing at me. I have made a grave mistake. Kevin also despises me for unknown reasons, probably related to me being a cat. Must be a dog person. Every so often in a quiet class, Kevin would make a very good impression of a sheep. Every 5 minutes or so. Kevin's friend, we'll call him Jack, thought his girlfriend was pregnant. He told Kevin he could name the child. Kevin's 2 choices for names were Kevin Jr. and Fidget Spinner. Yes, spelt like that. Kevin was convinced that people lived on Pluto, and now that it was declared a dwarf planet and not a real planet, he was scared because the Plutonians have nowhere to live. Kevin once asked to borrow my whiteout. Kevin took the stick and dragged it all across his tongue. He gave the bottle back to me. I let him keep it. On the topic of whiteout, Kevin apparently eats it often. It says poisonous on the bottle. Kevin knows this. Kevin once found a snake and threw it onto a road, causing it to get ran over. Kevin got a 58 in my science class, but the teacher bumped his mark to a 60 without asking because she didn't want to teach him again. Kevin constantly sung "Jesus Loves Me" during math class, including the atheist version, "Nobody Loves Me." Kevin had a girlfriend. Kevin started to date her because he called her his wife. This is grade 9. Kevin once sung "Country Roads Take Me Home" during English class for 20 minutes. He swapped to "What Makes You Beautiful" afterwards. Kevin got a 2% on a multiple choice test. Statistically, he'd get 25%. How the hell Kevin achieved this null of a score is beyond me. Kevin had a friend named Zach, who was like him, but nicer and smarter. Still not the brightest, but at least he tried. Zach and him once got separated in math class, and Kevin brooded about it all day by drawing broken hearts and sad stick figures on his whiteboard. Kevin thought if you drank pineapple juice, your semen would taste like pineapple. I really hope he did not test this theory. Aubrey Plaza tested that in that one movie. Kevin thought chocolate milk came from brown cows. Kevin thought strawberry milk came from pink cows. Kevin freaked out when we watched a video in sex education where the video showed a gay couple kissing. Kevin exploded a spray can of Axe in class, causing it to be evacuated for 3 periods. And that's all I have about Kevin, the craziest kid I have ever met. Stuart made a step so Kevin could take a leap. Okay, you probably can't tell, but I read the stories in reverse order. So I read the next story first, and in that story, there is baaing involved, like the sheep noise. What is with Kevin's and baaing? Why? And also, ironically, eating a bunch of nasty stuff throughout your life will make you a lot stronger in the long run. In fact, if you use and buy a lot of hand sanitizer, you are contributing to our own extinction because superbacteria is no joke. So this Kevin guy is operating on a level well beyond our own. Alright, so this one's called Kevin 2, when your gayness ends up destroying a class. This is like the spiritual successor to my first primary Kevin post, found here. Kevin in that story is still a Kevin as far as I know, but I haven't seen him in a while. He did ask me where his juice box went about a day before quarantine hit, but that was my only interaction with him, besides his classic sheep baas and sex moans in the hallway. This Kevin is a particular Kevin. A Kevin so special it's almost a pity I forgot to mention him here beforehand. This is the tale of Kevin and how he shut down my entire music class. Music was right after English, early in the morning. It was meant to be taken, but it was a bird course. All you had to do was play your instrument and not screw it up, and you had an easy 90. Now, the music class had a setup a little different from the others. 1, it had people of every grade, from 10 to 12, and 2, most of the practicing wasn't done in group with the rest of the class, only with your friends if you want to. Which was great, since I was playing the trombone, because that's the only instrument I can play, but I am very self-conscious about my trombone playing ability since I was never taught how to read sheet music by the teacher, so I just guessed what note to play. There are a handful of key people, and I will give them fake names. One of them is a friend who plays the saxophone, and a guy we will call Zach. That's a basic name for an acquaintance to a Kevin. I honestly don't know what Kevin is. I think he would be non-binary, but he has never explicitly said it. He is bisexual, as he has told me before. He has been referred to as a he, him, or she, her, and they, them, but Kevin responds to them all and doesn't seem to correct anyone. I will call Kevin he, him, like I did in class. Many classmates assume Kevin is just Kevin. I support Kevin for who he is, but I don't condone his strange actions. Our teacher had laid out a plan for the class. Learn songs, then at the end of the year, we were to write our own song. Simple. We were to pick out our instruments, and Kevin picks the tuba. We have alternate instrument day on Friday, but Kevin would play anything within the reach of his grubby hands. The teacher would be talking, and you could hear the xylophone noises or the pressing of piano keys faintly echoing across the room, and you could feel the tension rise. Our music teacher was chill with a capital C, and I have never seen this dude get angry at a kid before. So Kevin continues with his manic playing of everything poorly, specializing in the drums. Zach has picked up a ukulele. Zach is Kevin's crush, by the way, and it's super obvious. I feel bad for Zach as he's a nice and supportive person to anyone, even if his fellow popular kids bully him for being gay, which I don't know if he is, and it isn't my business. I normally step in and tell them to leave him alone. Kevin comes up and asks to play the uke. Zach hands it to him, and then we watch Kevin mess with the strings for a couple of seconds and goes to hand it back to Zach. "Take it." Kevin holds out the instrument like he's holding a bowl of Halloween candy for people to take chocolate from. Zach hesitates and gives a faint smile while scratching at his neck. "No thanks, you can play with it." "Take it, I insist!" He shoves it closer to the other guy's face, who gives a nervous chuckle. "Oh, don't worry, I'm gonna play something else. You can keep it for a while, Kevin." Zach backs his chair up a little and goes to stand up, heading for the wall of guitars. Kevin follows him like a lost puppy, which causes Zach to walk away from the guitars and down to the iPads, near the door of the room. Kevin is still holding the guitar, arms extended, and Zach picks up the pace. Soon enough, he starts to speed walk around the room, Kevin following him. "Take it!" Kevin orders countless times, much to Zach's refusals. Soon, they are running around the room in laps until the teacher walks in and sits Kevin down. The next day, Kevin walks in with a Campbell's soup container and a spoon. Zach is on his phone minding his business as we wait for the tardy bell to ring. And without even looking at Zach, Kevin announces to the whole class, "Hey Zach, do you want to try some of my Kool-Aid soup?" Zach says no, politely, obviously, and Kevin just takes a spoon and starts eating red Kool-Aid from his can for snack. He offered some to me as well to complement the baguette I was eating, but I told him I'll pass. These actions of Kevin were strange to be sure, but Kevin's behavior would weirdify as the days go on. Kevin isn't the brightest to begin with, but here's the list. Kevin tried to teach me how to play Magic the Gathering incorrectly, as I've played Magic the Gathering for a couple of years. He then offers to buy magic cards from the teacher and me, to which I tell him my cards already had buyers, which was true. Kevin continues his quest to play every instrument, but on some days he would just bring in his laptop and watch Men in Black instead. Kevin seems to be attracted to every main male character for any movie he watches, so keep this in mind. Kevin would get yelled at to put away the laptop, only to take it out, pretend to hide it behind his music stand, and watch a different movie. Kevin normally wore sweaters and pants, but sometimes he wore sweaters, skirts, and high heels. I am all for wearing what you want, but I feel as if wearing the same gray sweater doesn't really go with the feminine look, as many girls agree. This is Kevin's version of femininity. He wears this sweater a lot. Kevin told me that he had 3 legendary mounts, which I told my World of Warcraft addict of a friend, so apparently we think he must be lying. Kevin also had a crush on this friend, who he apparently flirted with in-game so much he had to block him. Kevin was tasked to pick the world's most influential invention for his English assignment, and he picked a very obscure steam locomotive or something like the golf club. Either or. Kevin asked our old music teacher to play Stairway to Heaven so much, the teacher had to leave the room. The teacher told us it was too long of a song to discuss in class. Lesson on songs played backwards. Kevin believed that alien frequencies caused the Mayans to make the pyramids. Kevin brought balloons to class for his own birthday, which was 2 days prior. Kevin ran out of class a lot, mostly in his English. A teacher had to page the office to catch him in the hallways. Kevin failed English because he watched Men in Black in it as well. The teacher found one of those toy Jeeps in a ditch and wanted to refurbish it to give to a family member. And Kevin sat on the muddy leaf-covered seat and pretended to drive until he was kicked out. Kevin doesn't know how to walk in heels properly, by the way. They were given to him by his math teacher, and they're a little too big for him. He often looks like he's about to fall. Kevin would bicker with my friend, the saxophone player, pestering him often. The saxophone guy told me himself that he never expected himself, a gay man, to feel homophobic. Kevin was also in my gym class and told me all he liked to do was watch the boys run and work out. He showed up half the time, and when he did, he walked. One time he did run, but he had like a heat stroke. Kevin straight up told Zach one day that he was bisexual, to which Zach told him that's wonderful, but he kept on repeating it over and over because I think that's how guys flirt. Kevin asked Zach to swing dance one time in class. His answer was no. Kevin asked me to swing dance. I said no because I couldn't see due to an allergic reaction to the incense in the yoga room. Kevin watched Men in Black instead of dancing. Kevin eventually caused the downfall of our class when he apparently did something. According to a druggie I know, in the drama change room where Zach and his friends were practicing their instruments, where Kevin followed them inside and, not wanting to be rude, they let him stick around. Suddenly, Kevin had an idea to win the heart of his beloved Zach.
Do you want to see me throw this pen inside a tuba?
Everyone says, "No!"
Okay, I'll do it!
Everything back in the main room was going fine until Zach is walking out wheezing, while Kevin is hiding a tuba behind his back. "Can I see it?" the teacher asks, and Kevin hands him the tuba. In attempts to get the pen out of the tuba, he played and twisted the valves so much they broke. The pen was still inside the tuba. $500 of damage. Kevin tried to deny this, but the more he denied, the angrier the teacher got. This escapade led to us all never playing instruments in the class again. Instead, we watched a bunch of musicals, like Les Mis and The Phantom. Kevin had a crush on The Phantom. In the scene where the two men were dueling for the love of the girl, Kevin turns around to Zach and goes,
"Why don't you learn to sword fight, Zach? It's very sexy."
During Les Mis, he fell asleep on the floor, face first, hood up. He was like a plank of wood. People poked him with pencils to wake him up, but he didn't move a bunch, until he shook rapidly about 5 minutes later and woke up himself. Kevin was only wearing a sweater, no shirt underneath, and Zach commented on it.
"Are you wearing no shirt?"
Zach should have seen where this is going.
"I don't know, Zach. Want to find out?"
was Kevin's response. Kevin got kicked out of class a lot for making weird noises and still continuing to play instruments after the band. By then, the class had come to an end. During one semester, he had almost failed music twice, attempted to buy magic cards and a toy Jeep, relentlessly flirted with some poor guy, ate Kool-Aid on the regular occasion, and cost around $500 worth in damages. And that is the story of how, in Kevin's quest for true love, he effectively shut down our class and reduced music to a study period. I kind of miss this class, as there was so much mundane antics of Kevin that very day was a surprise. We never even got to write our own song. Teacher gave him a 60 because if he didn't, he would be in his class again next year. Okay, first off, I gotta say some of these things are a little unfair, like the whole Kevin's gray shirt and heels and stuff. Well, how do you know he's going for strictly feminine? Because there's a lot of different styles, and it's really hard to just label stuff like that. Like, as far as we know, he could have been going for like an androgynous look, which is sort of, I think, a mix between masculine and feminine clothing styles. Judging what a kid wears is not the nicest or most fair even because, you know, they don't have a ton of control over what they have. I know for a fact that my parents, bought my clothes for me up until, I was 15, 16. Anyway, you get the point. And all that definitely wasn't me saying that this Kevin is not weird, because he definitely is weird. Moaning in the hallways and just all that just annoying crap that he was doing. We all did annoying things as kids. I still do annoying things. Heck, I am annoying. Hopefully he grows out of it and has that same disgust towards the 14, 15-year-old version of himself that we all have, because I definitely do. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.